welcome in everyone to a special edition of Sitting with an Athletic Director, State of the Programs. I'm your host, Thrift Barringer, and I am here with now the new Director of Athletics of Muscogee County School District, my great friend and Georgia Alabama Sports Live personality, Kendall Mills. Coach, congratulations. Thank you so much for joining me, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so we are here in what was Jeff Battle's old office for the past many years. You will not be inheriting this office. No. You actually got a new one. We'll talk about that in a moment. Yep. But I got your immediate reaction last night. Now you've had, I guess, a few hours of sleep, Coach.
Yeah.
How does this feel to be named and approved unanimously as the Director of Athletics for Muscogee County School District?
It's a great feeling. I was responding to text messages about 1 a.m. Just people, old students,
right?
Colleagues from years ago, just happy, overwhelmed, and the joy they have for me getting this position.
Right.
So I'm honored. I think I'm just going to get in here and try to represent all these people to the best of my ability.
Right. And
keep it professionalism and keep it rolling.
You know, Kendall, you had the opportunity. You may mention in your speech last night you wanted to play in the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? You played in college. You were able to also really great high school basketball player. But then pros was not in the forte. So you decided that coaching was.
Right.
Now looking back on it, how do you think your career has kind of played out and taken on now this ultimate opportunity as the Director of Athletics?
The great thing is life's not over. My career's still going.
Right.
I've been able to grow professionally,
right,
privately, religiously, just socially as a young man in this field. I started out as an elementary teacher. Didn't like that too much because I was opening ketchup packets and milk cartons for little kids.
Right.
And talking about paper cuts, this and that.
Right. He's cutting me.
Exactly. But once I got to the high school level, I felt at home. And luckily enough, I've had a great career as a teacher and a coach.
Yes.
And now the progression of being a leader, I think that's what is taking place right now. Just the mentorship, the things that I can give to younger coaches.
Right.
A lot of the coaches in the city, they will call on me for anything right now. So now I'll have more time. I say I'll have more time. I'll have time to spend with them outside of being an opponent.
Right.
So it's not always a strategy, but we'll be talking about how we can make things better here in Muscogee County.
And you're on the same team now.
We're on the same team. We're on the same team.
Every one of these coaches.
Correct.
No longer an opponent. But, Coach, I do want to go back. Who were some of those mentors for you growing up, as you made mention, going from a coach, a teacher, to an administrator and a leader? Well, who do you credit some of those people to?
Well, I'm going to start with my parents. My mother and father were both hard workers. And my mother's a retired educator.
Right.
And for some reason, I have three siblings. I have a twin brother and 2 younger sisters. I don't know what my mother saw in me and my brother that was different than the girls, but she started sending us to leadership camps, like in middle school.
Right.
Being able to speak in public, how to pronunciate words and talk in front of a group, in front of a camera, whatever. And to me and my brother's credit as educators, it benefits both of us.
Right.
He's an assistant principal out in Texas.
Wow.
He was a band director at Central Phoenix City when I was a coach at Central Phoenix City. So we've come through this city and we're known, have been known for some time now. But I can thank every coach I've ever worked for. Joseph Champy, Hall of Fame coach, college basketball, women's basketball, saw something special in me as a student manager. And I remember him inviting me to his house for dinner. And I was like, does he invite all the managers here? But
right.
Just saw something in me, and he mentored me and gave me sports coats, like I could wear his size or whatever. So him, and then the high school coaches I worked for, Lewis Washington in Opelika, Tony Hoyette, who was a 5-6-time state track championship champion in the state of Alabama. But he was a basketball coach. I got to spend 5 great years with Bobby and Carolyn Wright at Central Phoenix City. Great mentors. And now in the leadership role, of course, I was able to work with Matt Bell at Hardaway High School for 15 years. Christine Hull, who now is a boss of mine again here at the district. Her and Patrick Knopf, I'll be working hand in hand with them on academic and things of that nature, curriculum for the middle schools and elementary schools. Mr. McNeil is a friend, mentor, Coach Charles Flowers. I mean, it's so many I could name that I've had conversations with. Ahmad Tinker. And of course, I got my podcast guys. I got Joseph Kegler, I got Anson Hunley, I got Daniel McCoy. And we do a great job at collaborating and talking about things for our individual schools, but now don't worry about the title. We're still going to collaborate and talk about things from Muskogee County and make them better.
I love that, man. And I love that you made mention on the people that have been a big part of your life, Coach. But now, as you look back on your time at Hardaway, College Drive, it's been home for quite some time, Coach.
Yes, sir.
You have really cut your teeth and seen players that played for you and Kelly Ellison now take over programs and win state championships. What does it mean to you to be at Hardaway for so long and that legacy you left there?
You know, when I was the last few weeks of school, we started this thing, Fly Silent, a few years ago.
Yep.
That was our hashtag. And students came to me and said, Coach Mills, you started a movement. And I was just like, what are you talking about? She said, we say it on our announcements. We still put it in our posts. It's on our Instagram. It's on our Twitter feeds, whatever. And I just thought, well, yeah, we did start that, you know. So
right.
I look at it as a movement. You know, the things that I was able to accomplish at Hardaway are great. And having students come back or athletes come back, and now they're employed by the school district and they're working.
Wow.
Jaquella Woods played for me. She's the coach at Northside. You know, Jamisha Todd is an assistant at Hardaway.
Right.
So Jacoya Griffin played for me in my 2007 Final Four team with Kelly and Jaquella Woods. She's now an assistant at Kendrick High School. So I could go on and on. And the guys that I've coached, because I've coached both sides.
Yes, you have.
And I've done football. I've done everything. We got professional athletes. We got 2 first-round draft picks out of Hardaway High School the time that I've been there.
Right.
Not that I was influential in them. You can look at my frame and tell I don't lift weights or anything, but these are great things for Hardaway High School. So I was just happy to be there to assist these young men and these young ladies in their journeys. And I'm not leaving, you know. I just want to be there on a day-to-day basis. And hopefully Hardaway will strive and fly silent and keep moving forward and pushing that needle to higher academic achievements and higher athletic advancements.
Why was this job something that you really wanted? You talked about last night in your speech, you really wanted this job more than anything. You applied for it. You felt like you were ready. What was it about this job and right now that it was the right opportunity for you, Kendall?
Yeah, well, I feel very comfortable with my decision. It was a natural progression. Like I said earlier, my maturation in the profession and now as a leader, mentorship, things of that nature. Now, the bigger plan, the bigger role is to organize and plan activities for the entire school district, you know. I think that I'm comfortable with this decision also because my background with elementary education. I don't have a problem going to elementary school and seeing the activities that they're doing. I'm talking to PE coaches. I've been there before. You want kids that are happy about exercise, and most kids will be happy about that. You want them to appreciate the joy, the advantage of being physically fit for a lifetime. And it goes into the middle school as well. But at the middle school, the challenge will be now there's athletics. So being able to plan and organize those activities that I've assisted with for years now. So I know what's going on. And the major sports are the major sports. Our student athletes need the best possible coaches and training. So if that means getting out there and talking to some of the younger coaches about, hey, you got to do this, or you can push a little bit more, you know, or asking coaches, hey, do you go to clinics? How do you learn more?
How do you get better?
You don't stop and become stagnant at just one place. You can grow and mature. I've been to clinics in Las Vegas, basketball clinics. I've been in Atlanta. I've been Knoxville, Tennessee. If it was a clinic about basketball or volleyball, I've attended. Because I knew I wasn't the best coach. You know, I was doing the best I could do, but I always wanted to learn about the game and the sport. Thrift, this is going to be crazy. I'm going to put my wife out here. I have over 100 instructional DVDs for basketball.
Holy smokes.
And my wife wants me to throw them away. And I can't do it. I can't do it. They're just in a tote in my storage.
But it's allowed you to get better and grow your craft, right?
She says, what are you doing with all these DVDs? I said, I still got a DVD player. I said, some young coach may need this, and I'm going to have it as a resource for them.
No doubt. And I'm glad you brought up your wife and Miss Linda. Talk about what she's meant for you in your career and having her by your side. I said this on the radio today. Nobody successful, especially in sports, can be successful without having a significant other that fully believes in their vision, fully believes in their growth, and willing to sacrifice to watch the other person be successful. And you got that with your better half.
Let me tell you what happened. Early in our relationship, I was assistant coach at an all-star game in Savannah, Georgia. Good friend of mine, Kurt Green. Kurt, if you ever see this, I'm giving you your flowers right now. I was an assistant coach with Kurt Green, and his wife sat with Linda in the stands. And she asked, do you love him? Do you care for him? And she was like, yep, yes, I do. And she told her, you better stay in the gym as much as possible. And she took that to heart. So months later, we ended up starting a photography company.
Yes, we did.
Right?
Yep.
We did that together. Because I don't want her sitting in the stands, because she realized these parents really don't like you that much. No, they don't.
You don't want to hear that nonsense.
Right. So I'm going to buy you a camera. Let's start taking pictures, take pictures of the team, things of that nature. And that's how our business started. Then we got into weddings and things of that nature.
Right. That has really blossomed.
Absolutely. But she has been right there with me every step of the way. She's very calm. She understands the time that it takes to be successful. So she's never pushed me away from that.
Right.
If I had to be at the gym till 10 or 11 at night, laundry, whatever, she's there because she understands I'm not leaving till the job is done.
Right.
And I think that's one thing that I can appreciate from her.
That's awesome. And
I would say to any coach, if you got a partner like that, hey, wives, husbands, you're going to have to wash some clothes every now and then.
Right.
It's a lot of hours, but she knows I appreciate it and love her to death.
No doubt.
Yep.
I think that's awesome, Coach. And I'm really excited for both of you. I'm excited for this opportunity. I want you to talk about, you made mention of your two immediate superiors, but talk about Superintendent Dr. David Lewis, him giving you that call at 8:27 a.m. and what he's meant to you and your growth.
Right. Dr. Lewis has been, I think, here 11 or 12 years.
Yep.
So I've been here longer than him.
Yeah.
Not that I trained him for his job.
Right.
I never could do anything like that. But of course, through all the events that we do have with athletics in the school district and other events, I've been able to speak to him away from our office settings, away from school settings. So I think we developed a good friendship, and I think he saw the work. My resume spoke for itself.
Yeah, 100% did.
And I don't know how I don't know how they interact behind the scenes.
Right.
I guess I'll figure those things out in the weeks and months to come.
Right.
But to say it was a logical choice, I've heard that term a lot. I think I was a good fit.
Yeah.
A good fit for this job, and a credit to him for believing in me to make that call. And I was shocked. And I was very overwhelmed to get that phone call.
I'll tell you, it was a logical choice. It made no sense to go anywhere else but Kendall Mills. And I got to talk about a guy that's meant a lot to you, and we have to mention him as Jeff Battles.
Yeah.
What he's meant, as you were his de facto right-hand man, okay?
Yeah.
Now, I know in title, it didn't say assistant citywide athletic director, but you hosted a lot of events. You took on a lot of responsibility that he asked you to, and you started learning about the nuances of this job.
Right.
How important has he been for your career and for you getting this opportunity?
Can't speak enough about him. Mr. Battles, I don't know if he wants us to keep calling him coach or not. He's a great friend.
Once a coach, always a coach.
Once a coach, can't
you
deny
can't
that.
Shake that coach.
You can't run from it. Run from it all. Like I said, we worked together at Hardaway. I met him when he came from Pacelli to Hardaway High School. I was on his football staff. Great guy. Worked his butt off.
Yeah.
Worked his butt off. And we weren't that successful as a football staff. But we didn't stop. We always worked, and we always put our best foot forward, And sometimes with athletics, it's just cycles. You can have a good run, a bad run, whatever.
It happens.
Then when he moved away and became the director of athletics, I took over as the athletic director at Hardaway.
Right.
Not knowing anything about it. I was already going to events. I was on social media. I was already taking pictures and doing those types of things, promoting all our programs.
You were.
Theater to band to our athletic teams and programs. So that was natural. So when he calls on me to do a swim meet or to do an elementary fun run, what do you need me to do?
Right.
Hey, here's your microphone. I need you to announce this. Because he has to go somewhere else. Now there's a problem. You're in charge. Like, what do you mean I'm in charge? I'm just here to announce the events.
Yeah, that's it.
So it was his faith and his trust in me. And that's a lot of times in our fields, as yours, it's just trust, building the trust and getting the loyalty.
Right.
And I don't think I ever looked at him as a superior. I don't think he looked at me as an inferior person.
Right.
We're on an equal level.
Right.
And we respected each other.
Exactly.
I think people in the community could see it. I think the other ADs could see it. So it was never his right hand. It's just Coach Mills.
Right.
And he's going to do whatever's required for this event to be successful. He's going to do whatever's required to make sure the kids and the parents feel that they were welcomed or well-deserved of this acknowledgement or whatever it was. So we did it. We do it for the school district.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't Coach Battles could care less about being in front of a camera.
Yeah. Did not care about it.
I like social media.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem with it.
Right.
But if I don't have to do it, that's fine too.
Right.
You're not going to worry about my signature being on a credit roll or anything of that nature. I just want to get the job done. And if God blessed me to get to this point, I'm going to keep being a servant and doing the things I need to do to be successful.
It's sitting with an athletic director, state of the programs, and we have a two-part we're doing. So obviously right now part one is talking about the new job, and as Kendall Mills will be the director of athletics for Muskogee County School District. In part two, we'll be able to talk about, we will be at Hardaway talking about this past year, because we got to mention the state championship, talk about the great things they were accomplished on the football field and other sports in general. So we'll have that in part two, because, you know, we got to promote everything Hardaway for this upcoming year. We don't know who the AD is going to be, but we can at least rehash and recap what happened this past year. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to still stay in part one. When we come back, we got more here. It's a new athletic director, director of athletics. I got to get that title right. Muskogee County School District here on Georgia, Alabama Sports Live. Georgia, Alabama. Sports Live will be your go-to for all your favorite high school and collegiate games this fall. From the Carver Tigers to the Columbus Blue Devils, the Harris County Tigers and Northside Patriots, the Glenwood Gators and Calvary Christian Knights, the Pacelli Vikings and Brookstone Cougars, to the Smith Station Panthers and Russell County Warriors, from CVCC, Pirates basketball and baseball, and every tournament from here to Macon. We are the #1 destination for anything happening in East Alabama and West Central Georgia. Be sure to like and follow us on YouTube and Facebook, and stay tuned for even more amazing ways we will be bringing Georgia, Alabama Sports Live to you this upcoming season. We can't wait to come see you next. Welcome back here to the Muskogee County School District school building, the central office, if you will. And we are in the old office of Jeff Battles. There's actually going to be a new office, and you're going to be real close to Jeff Battles, aren't you? Yes, are you excited about that new office?
Yeah, it's going to be great. And that way I can still ask as many questions as possible.
It bother him all the time.
Not a phone call away. I might just be able to throw some paper and hit him on his desk and say, come on, man, let's talk about this.
Mr. McNeil, he's been your principal for the last couple of years.
Yep.
Your relationship with him, I saw you last night. Kelly showed up, Ellison, with the rings, which I know you're excited about, and in your tenure as an AD with the state championship. But talk about what he's meant for you and Mr. McNeil and his leadership at Hardaway, which has done wonders for the school.
Well, I mean, he came in at a tough time. Mr. Bell retired right at COVID. So we had Christine Hull, like I said before, is going to be my boss then for 2 years now. I'm back with her here at the central office. And McNeil comes in with her as an assistant principal.
Gotcha.
And so it was another natural progression. And the joy that I felt last night when my name was approved for this position was multiplied by 10 when he was named principal at Hardaway.
Awesome. Everyone
in the building was super excited. And once again, he's a young man. I say young man because I coached against him. Okay.
Wow.
So we've known each other for years. As an athlete, as a coach, then as a coach and coach.
Right.
Because he's been around the school district at several spots. He's been at Shaw, Carver, then he was at Brewer Elementary, Arnold as a coach. Then he ends up at Hardaway as an assistant principal. But his leadership is one of a kind. He's a straightforward guy. If you're doing your job, it's not a problem.
Right.
If you're slacking, you might get called to the principal's office. Yeah. Right. But the great thing about my career and the time I've had at Hardaway, after Mr. Bell left, I don't want to say I was training the principals, but the principals leaned on me a little bit.
Right, you've been there.
Because I knew the ins and outs of the school.
Right.
And with athletics, Ms. Hull, it was, Coach Mills, you handle athletics. My job is to handle the building And the same thing with Mr. McNeil.
Right.
They've given me the freedom to help staffing for coaching positions, things of that nature. Because some principals don't have to do that.
Right.
They don't have to ask the athletic director anything.
Right.
Because of Muskogee County, we're looking for high quality teachers. And if that teacher or educator can coach, it's an advantage because now you can fill 2 slots with 1 person.
Right.
Myself and Mr. McNeil, community coaches, they're great. They're great. But if you can get more people in your building where the kids can see them on a day-to-day basis, on an hour-to-hour basis, that's the model we have preferred at Hardaway.
Right.
And not saying it's bad or negative or positive for anyone, but that's the model we've done, and it works for us.
Right.
And we've been successful with that. And we got more and more coaches in the building that are educators. So now they're able to talk about the academic side to the kids, the discipline to the kids, and things of that nature. And we gel well. We really do. And it's been a great relationship. And it's
going to look like under your leadership. I know you're not trying to reinvent the wheel, but there might be some things you want to improve on or add or whatever it may be. But I know for early on, it's about establishing a relationship with all these ADs over in elementary school and middle school. Because your relationship already with the high school, you don't have to spend as much time on them. So what's the first thing you're really trying to work on here?
Like you said, just building those relationships. Getting out there and letting them know that I'm behind them and I'm going to support them any way I can. I think the scariest thing for people is when there is a transition or change. They think everything's going to change immediately.
Yes.
And that's not necessarily the case.
You're not being drastic.
Right. I think we spoke about it this morning on the show. There's going to be some things that I definitely want to install if we're coaching language. I want to install these things, but I need to get to know the landscape first. Be patient. Let's figure this out together. Our number one objective is make sure our student athletes are taken care of and understand rules, regulations, safety, things of that nature, and how to compete at the highest level. Athletes, as I, want to play at the next level. But the ball will stop bouncing. Something may not go your way. And we want to build you up to make sure you are a contributing member to society once you finish your career, if it's at high school level, collegiate level, or whatever. Muskogee County is the 2nd largest district in the state.
No doubt.
There are 31 elementary schools. There are 12 middle schools. So now we're at 43, and there are 9 high schools.
52.
All right. I need to learn the landscape. I got to figure it out. I've never sent an email out with 52 principals' names on it. Like Jeff Battles had. So I got to just get some files from him to figure these things out and how to communicate. I got to get with Kimberly Wright, the director of communications, to talk about, okay, how much can I do with social media? Because I do have a small platform.
And I will say that since you're bringing that up, office hours, we are in the works of some big things, whether it be a show that you do or being a part of office hours. You're still going to have your voice out there and promoting Muskogee County athletics, but you still got to find out what you're allowed to do or not do with this job.
Exactly. Because I don't want to separate myself from what I've done now for over 10 years, but if my job requires me to be in the shadows a little bit more, then that's what I'm going to do. Because professionalism is one thing, and you never want to say something that you can't back up. You don't want to get trapped in a situation because people in the community will try to get you on your words.
No doubt.
Don't want to get tongue twisted or say things that are incorrect. But I like I said, I'm looking forward to this transition. I'm looking forward to this new role, and learning the landscape is going to take some time, of course. But just like anyone in a political office, I got a 90-day plan, a vision. Okay, first 30, I want to learn things. 31 to 60, what can we tweak a little bit here or there? And by day 90, hey, we'll be probably in the middle of football season. So you'll be in the middle of football season. I'll be in the middle of football season, but I'll be already preparing for basketball season.
Exactly.
So it's the planning part is going to be strenuous. And knowing the landscape of our middle school athletics as well as the high school
and elementary too,
because we're gonna make sure the kids have fun, and are included in these activities.
And I'm glad you said that because Jeff, he's really big on the development part and starting at the elementary level. And I know there are some things maybe you even want to add on to the sports that are already playing. So I think that's awesome, Jeff. And by the way, not Jeff, Kendall. Shout out to Jeff Battles, but. The office hours is dropping Wednesday, 6 o'clock. You can hear him, Danielle McCoy, Anson Hunley, and Joseph Kegler. They break some news, including his new job. Also, someone else is getting a promotion too.
Yeah, that's right.
So everyone is elevating, and then Joseph Kegler is like, what's going on? But no, Joseph does a great job. And by the way, I know he's going to be a big part and a big help. Kind of like what you were to Jeff, you're going to be relying on Danielle, Anson, and Joe Kegler, who's going to be running, by the way, tomorrow's 707, which will be there streaming, and I can't wait to see Joe Kegler. He's done an amazing job, but I know you're excited about them and their new endeavors.
We're all excited. You know, that's the thing, when no one's holding anyone back. We all want to move up the ladder. We all want to progress, learn, mature in our profession, and I got a good team.
100%.
And it's going to expand some. You know, we're going to pull some people in and say, hey, if this is what you really want, hey, come join us.
Right.
And come on, let's fall in line. Be an Indian. Let's figure out who the Chiefs going to be, and let's just keep rolling with it.
I love every second of that.
It's going to be exciting.
Last thing for this part, and remember, part 2 will be live from Hardaway right here. Don't go anywhere on this stream. And we're going to be talking about what happened 24-25 for the Hardaway Hawks here, sitting with an athletic director, state of the programs, Georgia Alabama Sports Live, and our relationship, me and you, Kendall. For one, I remember I was in senior in high school, 2011, Kendall, and I remember, wanting to play pickup ball, wanting to be able to get in the gym, just having someone that can allow me to get better in my game, because I was about to go play college ball. And I remember texting you and messaging you. I'm a guy that went to Glenwood. You're at Hardaway. I was a decent ball player back in high school. I made a decent name for myself, but you probably didn't know who I was. But yet you were gracious enough to open the gym up, allow me to hang out with guys like Jermaine Burry, Jambari Clemens, Valente, and the likes, Marcus Smith. Yeah. And from then, I was like, there's something genuine about this guy. So when I started Georgia Alabama Sports Live, you're one of the first people I went to and talked about. And you've been right on board with me for day one. And for one, I want to say thank you for that. I'm excited about our relationship going to another level. And I'm excited about our coverage with Muskogee County Athletics. We did over 100 games last year. They got millions of views over many different schools and sports, going to middle school. Can you kind of talk about that relationship too, man? Because I really appreciate you, and I'm excited about Georgia Alabama Sports Live in the future with Muskogee County Athletics.
Well, like you said, I've been a coach for years, and I've been about any athlete wanting to get better. 100%. The Hardaway gym is, at some point, you might have thought it was a rec center. You know, I was in the gym.
We were in there a lot, Coach.
Nonstop. And I was coaching girls and boys.
And boys. You were double duty.
No air conditioning.
Nope.
We would just open the doors and get a big utility fan and sit in there in the summer. And
you couldn't hear anything except that fan.
That's right.
That's fine.
Burn up and let's just get after it. And that was not the time of social media.
Right.
So it wasn't no cell phones.
Nope.
We wasn't videoing, no highlights. Nope. It was, let's get in here and get better. Let's grind it out.
No doubt.
Times have changed. Social media has allowed us to get a new platform. The reason I like social media is because it promotes your program.
Yeah.
Mr. Bales, me and him had a talk about this. This was over 10 years ago. He went to a conference of a low-class school district in Kentucky, but their test scores were through the roof every year.
Right.
And the principal said to him, well, if you don't tell your story, who's going to tell it? So when he brought that message back to me and him just was like, okay, we're going to get Instagram. We're going to do this. We're going to put it out there.
Right.
Because too often media will take a negative thing and it gets all the coverage.
100%.
So we want to make sure we highlight as many positive things as possible. It's deserving to the kids, their families, because the debate club, do you know there's a debate club?
Yes.
All right.
I love it.
They don't get a lot of coverage. You see what I'm saying?
No, they don't.
Orchestra, the band, you know. So I took advantage of those opportunities, and I would go to those events, and the kids would just say, Coach Mills, you going to put us on your
Instagram? Can we get on social media? Which is awesome.
Right. So it's the best thing out there to promote your program.
100%.
And so when you approach me about the office hours, when you approach me about interviews, I'm like, let's check my schedule, let's get it done. Right. Because what better way for people to see it instantly or, you know, in a good time frame of what's occurring at that moment, you 100%. Know. Where none of us are promised the next day. So let's take advantage of the present. That's why it's called the present.
Right.
And let's push this envelope, man. I'm all for it. And like I said, whatever's allowed of me in this new capacity, we're going to get right to that limit.
Yep.
Not cross any, not do anything wrong, but we're going to be there.
Yeah.
We're going to be there. I'm going to be right there for you. Muskogee County appreciates what you do for the community and our kids. And I hope that partnership stays for a long time to come.
Me too, man. And it's one thing when you get to see the highlights, which are awesome, but when you get to watch the game live, like it's ESPN and you're watching NBA Finals, I mean, it's gone a long way, and it makes me jealous because I would have loved it when back in my day. I know you would have loved it in your day,
right.
and then be able to go back 15 years and show your kids and your grandkids how great they are. His name is Kendall Mills. He's a really good guy, and he's a home run hire, as I made mention like last night. No one more deserving for this opportunity. But guess what? We got to take a break, Coach. We got to change some clothes, and we got to hightail it over to Hardaway, because coming back after the break, we're going to talk Hardaway Athletics 24-25. I don't know if you know, they won a state championship this year. We'll talk about that and more. Sitting with an athletic director, say the programs. Be right back after this.
It's a great day for a new Chevrolet from Glenn Smith in Opelika. Take to the road in a rugged new full-size Chevy Silverado with discounts up to $12,500 off MSRP. Or plug into the future with the innovative Chevy Blazer EV. Lease yours today for just $299 a month. That's right, just $299 a month. People from all over the USA are coming to Glenn Smith Chevrolet. Get ready to drive and get ready to smile.
Welcome back to Sitting with an Athletic Director, State of the Programs. And you saw part one. We talked about his new job, how excited he is about that, but we still got to put a recap and a bow on what you just did this past year, Kendall. So first things first, kind of get a summary of how you think 2024-2025 went before we go down to each sport for the Hardaway Hawks Fly Silent athletic program.
College Drive. Hardaway is the middle of the city. We're the melting pot. We'll say that all the time. So we get kids from all over the city, all over the district to come here.
Right.
And we are one of the competitive teams. You know, one sport may be better than the other sport, depending on what season we're in.
Right.
But Hardaway, we're always going to be in the mix. And I've been here 21 years. We've always been in the mix. So we just want to keep that level of competition as far as the region, as far as the city, and advancing in the state playoffs. If every sport can do that, we're great.
Let's start with football.
Yep.
That's the tone setter, Coach. It
is.
They set the tone for all the other sports. Now, they technically don't start off the action. Volleyball and softball do, but football does set the tone for fall sports. Last year, I said it over and over again. I thought it was one of the most improved football team out of anyone in our area from 1 year in 0-10 to last year being on the cusp of making the playoffs. Coach McKenzie did a great job, but he moved on to another opportunity, and you had to hire a new coach. So talk about last year and that major improvement and the guy leading the team this year.
Well, we're fortunate enough to have Ryan McKenzie for 2 years with us. Did a great job, like you said, that transition and then building a foundation. You know, when you go 0-10, you just think it's going to be a mass exodus and families, you know, this community.
Right.
It's hard to support when you think you're getting these learning experiences. I don't say losses a lot. You're getting learning experiences.
Right.
We had 10.
Yeah.
We had 10 of them. And it can be frustrating, but when you know your vision and you have a vision, there was not a lot of pressure from administration. We told Coach McKenzie, hey, keep going, keep grinding, figure this out. We're able to retain a lot of players, and that process, that building process, where those blocks were there in place, and we're able to take advantage of it this year. Of course, we're in a new region, so that helped a lot. We weren't playing the K-Rose. The Bainbridges weren't traveling all the time.
Right.
So we're playing locally in town. I think that helped us, Hardaway, financially, helped us, our morale, because we're able to get some victories here and there, and he did a great job. Transitioning now to Coach Wilden, who's been in the program for years. He's in the building. He understands the Hardaway culture. He understands Fly Silent. He understands the College Drive movement, and I think he's going to do very well.
Yeah, I'm excited about this upcoming season. I was talking with Chess Owens, his offensive coordinator. They got some things up their sleeves, and they're excited about this upcoming year. And I think it should be a really good improving and building upon what Coach McKenzie laid last year.
Right. And Coach Wilden's going to put his foot in it.
Yeah.
You know, he's going to put his stamp on it.
Right.
The tweaks, you know, you tweak things because of personnel.
Right.
You know, if you don't have a big offensive line, you know, you might not throw it that much. Or you might have some quick guys on offensive line. Your blocking scheme may change.
Right.
And the Jimmies and Joes are going to make the plays. You know, your best player is going to touch the football. We want to make plays. And we're going to put people in position to be successful.
Flag football, that's the other sport football-wise in fall. And flag football, one of the biggest growing sports that we have. Another year that was an improving year last year. Who's leading that program, and how excited are you about what you did last year and heading into this season?
We got Coach Frank on board. This will be her second year as the head flag football coach. She has a great rapport with the girls on campus. And she's learning how to be a coach. So I was able to help her and mentor her a little bit these past 2 years. Hopefully whoever takes over as athletic director can help guide her even further.
Right.
But she's learning to be a coach, and these initial years are critical in the process of building your program. But the young ladies are excited about it. They really enjoy competing. Some girls get out there and think it's not going to be any contact, and it's contact.
Right.
So by game 2 or 3, their attitudes change a little bit. Like, okay, we got to be tougher.
Right.
It's no crying in flag football.
Right.
Go back to that old movie
with Tom Hanks.
That's right. There's no crying in flag football.
Right.
You better toughen up and get it together. And she has that about herself, and it feeds to the girls that she has playing for.
Now, a sport that starts really the entire sports season is softball and volleyball. I want to start with volleyball because that's what you were. You were the volleyball coach.
Yes.
So what is happening for this upcoming year, and how, are you going to miss coaching volleyball? And what do you want to talk about for last year, man?
I'm going to miss coaching. It doesn't matter the sport. The interaction with the kids is on a different level.
And you were really close to making the playoffs last year.
Right.
Just missed it.
Yeah. Volleyball is just one of those sports, and last year was the first year of power rankings.
Yes.
And that was an adjustment for all of us. But I think we're going to leave it in good hands. We got a coach on campus. We'll make the announcement. We'll make it right here. Jessica Herndon will be taking over. She's an assistant basketball coach, but she'll be taking the reins as the head volleyball coach. With her experience and background as an athlete in the Columbus area. She played here.
Right.
Played at Northside High School and went on and played at Columbus State for basketball.
Awesome.
But with her experience and her knowledge and working with the girls basketball team, I think it's going to benefit her because Coach Ellison's right there. She may have her own style of coaching,
right?
But she's able to take from one of the best that we have here, the best hire ever made, was Kelly Ellison. But volleyball is a sport that you got to have skills. Young ladies got to be dedicated to getting dirty, diving on the floor, things of that nature.
Right.
And the training is big time in the off season.
Right.
So hopefully they'll grow. They'll come in the week after Dead Week. We got Dead Week coming up next week, but Coach Herndon's ready to get into the gym and get them rolling, and I wish them most success.
I talked about volleyball, now softball. Coach Anthony, he coached both of them and did an amazing job. And last year had the team that I think led the country or one of the top 5 teams in the country in stolen bases, Hardaway, which is pretty incredible. But talk about what Coach Anthony means to this school and him leading the softball program for next year.
He is one of the most energetic coaches on campus, almost like me.
Yeah.
He's business oriented. He knows his role. He knows the strategies he wants to implement. And like you said, stolen bases, we're going to gamble. We're going to gamble. We can get on base. We're going to take our chances at advancing the runners as much as possible. So, hey, those pitchers got to be ready.
Yeah.
They got to check first base real quick because it may be coming.
And he does a great job developing the young talent.
Oh, yeah,
and
absolutely.
I expect softball to be just as competitive as they were this past year, this upcoming
Absolutely,
year.
absolutely. Big things to come. Coach Anthony's a guy.
And moving on from that, we'll talk cheerleading. Cheerleading, obviously competition goes into the winter, but they are a mainstay and set the atmosphere for football games on Friday nights. Who leads the cheerleading program?
Janai Jefferson does a great job.
Amazing.
She's been here for years. She cheered and is an alumni of Hardaway. Got her back in the English department. She does a great job in the classroom. Cheerleading is one of those sports, once again, it's year-round.
All the time.
So hats off to her for the time that she puts in. She might be walking through the building at any time, just like me, early in the morning, late at night, because you got to finish up some work. The job's never done. And she's one of those that puts in the hours. We have a great group of young ladies who bust their butts every year. Did you know that cheerleading is one of the more injuries happen in cheering than other sports? Sometimes more than football.
They put a lot of strain on their bodies.
A lot of strain on their bodies, and that's where the training also comes in. She does work at Gymnastics Unlimited.
Yep.
So she has the background for the tumbling and all those skills required. She tries to transfer that to the young ladies, and we try to put a good product out there. And like you said, they start at the beginning of the year. So with football and the morale of the school building, the culture starts with those sports because they're the major sports, and they're going to be featured on the prime lights, on Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights here in Muskogee County. So you don't get always the support you want or need for softball or volleyball because, one, we start when school starts.
Yeah.
Softball's first game is the second day of school.
Yeah.
Volleyball's first game is the first week of school.
All right.
Well, you still get a few weeks for football because they might have a scrimmage game here or there, but the season doesn't start for 2 or 3 weeks. So when you come to school and you're a freshman and you hear that announcement, like, we got a volleyball game today, we got a softball game today, it's like, yeah, we start in July practicing,
right?
And training, getting ready for those things. So big things to come with cheerleading, and she does a great job because, once again, she's a head coach for football cheer, which leads into competition cheer, which leads into game day cheer. And her schedule's like mine. A few days in the spring, she may get off, and then we're gearing up for another season.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And again, they set the tone, set the culture, bring in all the passion, the energy, the pageantry that makes high school sports so unique.
Absolutely.
I'm going to save the best for last for fall, which is cross country. Because anybody that can run that many miles in 130-degree weather in August, the hottest part of the month, in July, in Georgia and Alabama. Talk about who leads that program and how great of a job they've done.
We're going to have a little transition here right now. Coach Sweeney is going back to school. So he's giving up the reins for cross country. So I'm getting Coach Gandy, who's our track and field coach, and Coach Hutto, which is an assistant basketball coach.
Yep.
And they're going to run that program. I don't even know if they know it yet. So when they watch this, they'll see. But Coach Gandy does an exceptional job with track and field in the spring. And I think it will be an easy transition for him to now get his long-distance runners and get their training year-round instead of waiting for fall and spring to get going, winter and spring, And Coach Hutto came to us from Troup County, and he did cross-country at Troup County. So it's going to be easy for him to take it over. And my plans were, if I was still here as the basketball coach, was get those basketball players that weren't playing football go run cross country.
Right.
So I think that's a thing we're going to put out to them. Hey, you don't have to condition as much in the fall if you come on and you get this training on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
Because you're training for those 3.5 miles. You need to probably run 5 a day.
Right.
At least 5, at least twice a week to get ready for your meet. So it's going to be interesting. But cross country, like you said, hats off to them because it's running.
Yeah.
It's running. You don't have to love it, but you got to do it.
Right.
And those athletes, hats off to them because they get it done.
And we do it right here at Hardaway, as Kendall Mills says. We're live in the front office, sitting with an athletic director, state of the programs. You see it. We got the Midtown Showdown Trophy.
Oh, yeah.
That shout out to you, Danielle McCoy. We got the state championship trophy, which we'll talk about coming up next. The basketball. It's winter sports here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live, sitting with an athletic director, state of the programs. We'll be right back after this.
The clock is ticking on the spectacular pre-owned truck sale now in progress at Glenn Smith in Opelika. Chevy, Ford, GMC, and Dodge trucks and Toyota trucks too. Full size and heavy duty, smaller trucks, work trucks. Prices to payments on all pre-owned trucks have been slashed. This is your chance to get a clean late model used truck at the price you want. And during the sale, special finance rates are now in effect. This sale may end at any time. One location only, Glenn Smith in Opelika, Alabama.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sitting with an Athletic Director, state of the programs, Kendall Mills, Hardaway, College Drive.
Yes, sir.
We are in winter, and we'll start first with swimming. Who leads the swimming program, Coach?
Miss Scarborough. This is her second year at Hardaway. I'm going to put it on out there. This is a disclaimer. If you don't know how to swim, you can't be on the swim team because we're not training you to swim. And unfortunately,
have you had some of those instances?
We have a hard time, and I'm going to be honest, with our black students to swim.
Right.
Because they don't know how to swim. So it's a hard sport to recruit because, one, you got to have the skill set required to swim. She does a good job at getting the message out about swimming. But once again, if you can't swim, this is going to be hard for you to do.
Right.
I'm a swimmer. I grew up with a swimming pool. I have one right now. So I understand it. I appreciate her time and effort. We just need more kids coming, train, that know how to swim.
Right.
Understand the strokes, understand the races, and now you can get in the water and make it happen.
Prerequisite. I can't even get that out. You got to know how to swim.
You got to know how to swim.
You got to be in a pool before.
Exactly.
Try to go and be on the swim team.
Exactly.
Wrestling. It's a dynamic sport here.
Yep.
We had some great wrestlers come out of this school. Who leads the wrestling program and how great of a job they've done?
Gregory Gooseby does a good job. He's a former wrestler from Shaw High. He graduated from Shaw years ago. I don't know the year. He's in our history department.
Awesome.
This will be his second year leading the program. We had 5 wrestlers make it to the state meet. 2 placed, 4th place. We had a 4th place finish and a 5th place finish.
Nice.
And for Hardaway, that's good.
Yeah.
You know, we're not Russell Scott. And he does a great job at Jordan.
Legend, man.
Hardaway, I mean, we got good kids. And most of the kids that wrestle do multiple sports. So once you get them in, and they're actually training right now in the wrestling room.
Right.
So he's instituted that year-round process of being in the gym and working out and doing those things. And of course, in the state of Georgia, you can work out in the summer.
Right.
So he probably has 10 to 15 in the wrestling room on a daily basis, getting them better. And the kids love it. The parents appreciate his efforts, and he's going to keep going.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully we can compete for a region title. I know we're going against my guy right down the street, but College Drive, we're coming after that title, Russell. You know, you and Columbus High, we're coming now.
Yeah.
We got some kids here too that can get it done.
Love it, man. All right, esports is a growing sport. I've seen that it's fun to watch. I mean, they get going on their controllers, and it's a unique thing to be a part of and watch an actual meet. Who leads the esports? Coach
Alsop, I'll call him Coach because it's called esports.
Yeah.
2nd or 3rd year now doing esports here at Hardaway. It's only 3 or 4 of us in this district who have esports as a competitive team.
Gotcha.
He does all the scheduling. It's basically, you know, they have their own communication levels. And he'll just tell me, hey, I got a match with this place, got a match with this place. And we have a control room. We got it set up down the hallway. And they get in there, and like you said, it's interesting because you go in and they're logged in and they're locked into their matches.
Yeah.
And, I don't know the games. You know, I'm not a sport enthusiast, you know, gameplay type guy. So just to watch them and their excitement is something to behold.
Dance, that's another unique, and there's dance competition, but there's also they're a part of entertaining and being a part of the pageantry that I talked about for Friday nights or basketball or whatever sport it may be. Who leads the dance program?
Coach Frank, once again, our flag football coach, goes right into dance. Today is our freshman orientation, so they perform today. So she's been working with them since school has ended. Like you said, it's an auxiliary of the band. So they do fall season with football, and then it's a small breakaway from that because now they focus on their competitions and things that they have to do. But dance, once again, is one of those, it's a female sport.
Right.
It's not just something for leisure fun.
Right.
You're going to grind it out. And when they have to cancel practice, they're just as upset as a basketball player, just as upset as a football player that their practices are canceled because they don't have a dance room. So we have to move them around from place to place and coordinate those things as an athletic director is one thing that you have to know that you have to do. She does a great job. She's a former dancer, graduate of Central Phoenix City. She does a great job here for us.
And last, but certainly not least, is basketball. Coach, it's something that's been a part of your life for quite some time.
Absolutely.
Now, last year was a learning year for the boys program, so I'll let you talk about that, and then we'll top it off with Kelly and her incredible season. But for you, as you step away now to take over director of athletics, this has been your baby for many years, Kendall. This is it. When you think Hardaway basketball, you think Kendall Mills. What's the next steps moving forward? What has this legacy meant for you, and what does it mean now to no longer be the head coach of Hardaway? Well,
when I took over the program some time ago, 2004, 2005, as I stated earlier, Hardaway, we're in the middle. Right. We want to be in the middle or in the upper echelon of the sporting activities. And basketball is one of those things where it just goes in cycles. You know, you got good kids, you got good athletes, it's going to result in some wins. And you can see it at the other schools in the city, but we're not talking about them. We're talking about College Drive right now.
Right.
And we're just it was a downward slope right now. We just didn't have a lot of older players. It was a young team. We had 5 seniors last year, and out of those 5, none of them had played varsity. Okay.
Yeah.
So now
you had a brand new team, Coach.
Yeah. We had 13 guys on the varsity team with no varsity experience. So it was just a learning experience, and I'm happy to say we weren't playing Cairo or Bainbridge, because the year before I had Makai Ben, Lamel Mims,
Hell yeah.
Jonathan Kyles,
Yeah.
Antonio. Like we had some dogs.
Ballers, yeah.
We had some ballers. But with the experience, as football did 2 years ago, next year should be better.
Yeah.
Next year should be better. And Mr. McNeil is going to do a little search. We'll see who's going to replace me. I don't know if I'll be involved in that.
Right.
I'm too close to it.
Right.
I may have to remove myself from that, find a replacement, but he's going to do a good job. And they're going to get good kids who want to play. They want to play. They want to get better. And we want young men that are going to be loyal to the program. They want to stick around. You know, if you come in as a freshman, we want you to stay here 4 years.
Right.
You know, I really don't. I'm not going to say anything negative about it, but I don't like that transfer thing.
Yeah.
Now, if you're moving, you're moving. But don't come here because you don't like the coach and move. If you like basketball, you play basketball.
Right.
It doesn't matter who the coach is. Do the best thing you can do for your program, for your family, for yourself.
100%.
And that's what Hardaway wants. We want kids that want to be here, that want to elevate their game and elevate the school name as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to go down to spring sports, Coach, and let's go ahead and I'm not going to go to spring sports. And the fact, listen, Kelly, you can't kill me. I love you to death. State champion winning coach, Kelly Ellison, and her program. For the last 6 years, they have been the most consistent program we've had. And I think Hardaway Hawks history with the championship wins, the Final Four appearances, back-to-back appearances in the state championship. Talk about what she's done with this program and has really put Hardaway on the map as a respectable basketball program. And you coached her. You were part of it. You made a Final Four run with her as well. You understand the history of this program and what she's done the last 6 years. I still, even though with all the talent she's losing, I don't, with someone like her, you don't rebuild, you reload.
You reload. Kelly's done an exceptional job for us. Hats off to her, the young ladies. They'll get their ring soon. I mean, we are so proud of them. And it's easy to forget them because we've done so many talks and commercials and interviews since the state championship about this.
Right, 100%.
But they are, you know, undoubtedly the driving force of our athletics right now. You know, female sports.
Yes, 100%.
You know, female sports, the girls basketball team is the best thing on our campus. And I tell all the athletes that. I tell them that's why you should support them, you know. But our girls do a great job at supporting the other sports as well. So when you see the girls basketball team at the football games, we just want the football team come to the girls basketball game, you know. We want the softball players come to the girls basketball game. You know, we're not hating on another sport at all.
No.
We want to build a culture where our athletes promote and encourage their brothers and sisters to do just as well. And Kelly does a great job of that with our young ladies, and they work extremely hard year round. It didn't happen from October to March. It's happening in the gym right now. It's happening with the summer leagues, the camps that they go to, the 4-on-1 workouts that she'll start in the fall, you know, the extra time, the open gym sessions. And we have talented young ladies here.
No doubt.
And we just hope they keep coming and they just run the table, compete regionally, and make it to the state playoffs. And let's see what can happen again.
You've said it over and over again. She's the best hire you've ever made.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you really firmly believe that because not only that, she gave you a state championship on your way out, and she is leaving. And when you step up now as the director of athletics, you know Hardaway's still going to be in a good place because she's still involved.
Absolutely.
In everything.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I know you love her and you appreciate everything she's done for this school, and she is going to be, I think, on her way to being a Hall of Famer coach.
Absolutely. She's going to do it. She is the epitome of a student athlete. You're talking about a young lady who never made a B in a class in her life. Graduate high school, top of her class. Graduate college, top of her class. Master's degree. She can do whatever she wants to do. She understands the discipline it takes, and she employs that on her student athletes as well.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back from break, we'll wrap it up with spring sports. Sorry again, Kelly. Was not trying to overlook you here. Sitting with the athletic director, head of the program, Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
Hello, everybody. This is DJ Jones with the Sports Vision's morning show for the best in local, regional, and national sports news. Weekdays from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m.
You can find the Sports Vision's morning show on Facebook, YouTube. Also, you can listen to us on Apple and Spotify by typing in the Sports Vision's morning show, and download the Sports Vision's radio app right now in your app store today.
Sports Vision 92.1. We are your hometown sports guys.
Welcome back, everyone. Sitting with an athletic director, state of the program, spring sports now. Track and field. Something you were really heavily involved with. You also did with the track meets and stuff. You're going to probably have to do that a lot this year, too, with your job. Who's going to lead the track and field program?
Charles Gandy. He's been in a program now 3 years, does a great job. His wife is an assistant principal here, but he's a former track athlete from Albany State, so he understands it. He also participated in high school here in Columbus, finished at Shaw High School. Shaw U, as they say over there, but Shaw High School to us. Does a great job. And once again, that's another sport where it's running.
Yep.
It's running, and it starts out when the temperatures are cold sometimes, or rainy, tornado seasons, whatever it is. But they do a great job. And we're fortunate enough to have an 8-lane track here, at Hardaway. So they're able to train and actually practice as if it's a meet on a daily basis. He does a great job with that.
From track and field to tennis, who leads the tennis program? I think you know that person.
I know that person very well. Coach Bro, she does a great job. She messed up last year. I'm going to tell you what happened. She had a young team and wanted to compete as a JV team and not a varsity team. As a JV team, they went undefeated.
And smoked everybody.
Yeah. And I said, you got to let them compete.
Right.
Let them compete.
Let them learn.
Yeah, let them learn. And to any young coach, I would say it's not always about wins and losses. It's developing the kids, but let them compete at the highest level possible because you never know what'll happen. But she does a good job. She played tennis here and was a cheerleader here. Very passionate about it, so it works out. Of course, our personal relationship gets involved sometimes because she thinks she can just get what she wants. And I have to tell her, no. Follow protocol.
Right.
This is what's going to happen. This way we're going to take it. She does a great job, though. We had 15 tennis players.
Holy smokes.
Then we had 7 girls and 8 boys, and that's probably the largest we've had in years.
And they're growing this, and she's definitely doing a good job growing the tennis
because they're going to
teams.
come back and keep playing. Absolutely.
How about golf? Who leads the golf program?
Stephen Campbell does a good job. And once again, golf, I'm going to say it's like swimming. You have to have exposure to it to want to play it. So he does the best job he can with what we have.
Right.
And some years we might have 5 golfers. One year we might have 2, 1 female, 1 male.
Right.
So we want to develop that and get more participants in it. But if you don't have any exposure to it, it's going to be tough. And golf, to our student population, is not a sexy sport.
Right.
And it competes with track and field, and it's going to compete with soccer, which we're going to talk about as well.
Right.
But yeah, golf does a great job. Your main competition is, right down the road is Columbus High.
No doubt.
Coach Parkinson does a great job every year. Of course, I'm at the tournaments, so I'm there. I'm not a golfer myself, but I get out there about 2-3 times a year, and I'll
hit a ball
around a little bit.
Whack it around.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. But the discipline it takes to play golf, if you're not exposed to it, it's a hard thing to teach. You got to have the exposure to it and understand the sport and get the experience.
Another sport you just made mention, soccer, is a sport that there's a lot of pride here for soccer at Hardaway. Talk about who leads those programs. We
got Coach Hancock on the girls' side, and we have a retired coach, Rick Iden, is going to help her a little bit next year, so that's going to be awesome. Coach Fafeli on the boys' side, he's going to step away. He's going back to school. So we got
he's done an amazing job.
Done a good job. So it's going to be a little transition, but hopefully we'll get some people in here, Mr. McNeil and the next AD, to find someone to take over the reins there. But we definitely have soccer athletes on campus that enjoy the sport. They compete. And the girls made it to the playoff series this year. The boys missed it.
Yeah.
But hopefully we can get both of them back in the playoff picture next year and keep moving forward.
Finally, baseball. Coach Eric Anthony led the entire country, it seemed like, or top 5 in steals last year, man. Was on the precipice. Did they make the playoffs?
They did.
They did make the playoffs.
Yes,
I know they did, and they were in that flirting with the top 10 all year long. Had a winning record, won 15 games. Talk about what Coach Anthony's done with this program, which I was so impressed with last year. Chess Owens, also an assistant there.
Yep.
Very, very good job by Coach Anthony in the baseball program.
Once again, we had good players. We had some veteran players on that team, and they understood the assignment, And it's building year by year by year. Coach Anthony does a great job at recruiting the kids and getting them to play baseball. When I say recruiting, I mean on a day-to-day basis in the building, finding kids that are interested in baseball.
Right.
So if he knows you from Little League or from your middle school, that's one thing. But when you find someone that's athletic, you can say, hey, just come try this. If you're not running track, you're not basketball, you might play football, but come try this. And he does a great job at finding that talent to steal those bases. You might not be able to hit this ball, but guess what? We'll let him hit it. You come replace him and run these bases.
Right.
And let's advance the runner.
And they got a lot of wins because of that.
That's right. That's right. You
Coach,
take chances and get it done.
Final thing, two things I want to hit on. I want to let you an opportunity to talk to the Hardaway community and what they've meant to you over the last 20 years. But before that, you said something early on, but I wanted to talk about it right now, and it kind of encompasses your new job. You mentioned about last year the lack of travel you had to do that kind of saved you money, but really entire Muscogee County School District. Richard asked you this early on the radio today. How important is that to try to keep this region within the 7 of the 8 schools? Obviously, Northside's in the region with Harris County, but again, they're not traveling as bad as they were in years past. How important is it to keep the travel at a minimum, and how big was that for not only you, but for all the schools?
The thing that everyone has to understand is we're in school till 4 o'clock. Okay. Our transportation department can't service the students and take care of the athletics.
Right.
So we have to use charter bus. We have to get the kids out of class sometimes. And that doesn't always benefit the student.
No.
Okay. When you're missing 1, 2, you're leaving right after lunch to travel to a Bainbridge on a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Okay. So not only are you missing class, you're not getting back to midnight or 1 in the morning.
Right.
You got to get right back up and do it again. So being in the same region and locally, we're able to cut down on charter buses. We have our 14+1 passenger bus. We call it the white activity bus. So if you have a team that's with a small number, you can use the activity bus. So you can leave right at 4 and still get to your game that starts at 5, 5:30.
No doubt.
Things of that nature. So that helps us financially. That helps us with parents able to come and watch those events. It helps your student body able to come to watch those events. And now they're able to watch it locally. We're right here in the city, get those things done. So hats off to this state for allowing us to be in this region together. And hopefully this is year 2 of the cycle. Hopefully when it changes in 2026, that we're able to continue having this. And the things that's going to come up with GHSA later on is going to be your multiplier for your student population or the power rankings.
Right.
What we want to do. So it's been tabled right now, but it's going to come back up, and I'll be influenced by it, and I'll be communicating that to the community when it comes up. Will we be in the same region? 1.
Right.
2, who's in the region? For competitive balance, some schools may get moved out because they're competing at a high level and winning titles in different sports.
Right.
And we'll talk off air about those schools because I don't want to put it out there right now. But you can't discredit a team for winning.
Right.
But when those regulations do come out and those numbers are rolled out, it may be a shift in the region. And we'll just see what happens.
Right.
But those are things I'll deal with at my next position.
Right.
And we'll figure those things out, Dr. Lewis, myself, and whatever panel we can put together, or leadership team to fight those things.
And make the right decisions for everyone involved.
For everyone involved.
Yeah, and that's what, again,
exactly.
that you're wearing the hat of everyone. You're not just wearing the hat of the Hawks. You're wearing the hat of the Blue Devils, the Raiders, the Green Waves, the Red Jackets,
the Cherokees,
the Cherokees,
the Red Jackets,
Patriots,
everybody.
Everybody that is included. So,
yes, sir.
Final thing. This is to the Hardaway community out there, man. They've been, you've been their leader.
It's been
over 20 years now. What does this mean? Because you're not going far.
No.
You're still going to be in their lives, just not at the full capacity you've been the last 20 years.
Like I said before, and I'll say this in any interview that I've had, moving to the district office was a decision I made professionally. It's nothing against the Hardaway family. This has been my home for 21 years. And I've enjoyed every moment of it. I've been in the same office for 21 years. Former athletes are texting me right now, congratulating me. And I say, hey, remember we had the big screen in the office. We had a couch in the office. We had to roll the TV outside to watch film and things of that nature. But it's been a joyous ride. Can't ask for anything more. The support and love that I got from the Hardaway community, as well as Muskogee County. And I think that will help me transition to this other role. There's not a day that will go by, has not gone by, where Hardaway's not in my heart, my thoughts. I'm happy you gave me this moment because I always do something crazy, in interviews. But, to keep it short and sweet, I don't have a mic drop, but here's my whistle. Coach Mills will be signing out right here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
I love it, Coach.
With Thrift Barringer.
I love it, Coach. This is why I love him. He's always thinking of something creative. And by the way, he's not going anywhere. Our partnership with Muskogee County is going to be stronger than ever. And hopefully you'll see more of Director of Athletics, Kendall Mills, here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Congratulations again, Coach.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for what you do for me.
Always.
And we hope to see you in the near future.
Yes, sir.
Thank y'all for watching. And don't forget, office hours tomorrow night, Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Kendall Mills signing out here on Sitting with an Athletic Director, State of the Program.